Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of And Now You Know with Betty and Julz. I'm Betty.
And I'm Julz.
And today we're feeling a little weird, a little off, maybe.
I'm not.
Maybe, okay, it's just me. Feeling a little off today. I think it's the weather. I think it's maybe like...
Well, it's because it's fall and people are putting up Christmas lights and it's 90 degrees outside.
And it's 90. Well, yeah, but for me, I feel like I'm cold all the time. Even though it's 90 degrees out, I don't feel like it's 90 degrees out. I feel like I'm having to wear except not today, I'm not wearing. But the other day I was wearing like a full-on snowsuit.
Well, it was cold.
It was cold.
Our weather here, but I think it's this way in all the places. It's pretty bipolar here, but we were at freezing on Monday, and then now we're going to be like 85 today. So it's typical Texas weather. So if you don't like the weather today, wait till tomorrow, and then maybe that'll be your favorite kind of weather. So
yeah, well, my favorite kind of weather is like 95 with my toes in the sand and looking at the ocean.
I like that too, but
that's my favorite kind of weather.
This time of year, I'm looking out the window and I see red and white Christmas lights across the street, and I just feel like it needs to be a little bit cooler. Soup weather.
Yeah. I do love soup during sweater weather. That's cool. I do like that. Anyway, maybe I'm just tired. I don't think I slept very well last night.
I think that you are, I'm not going to say, I think that you're at a chapter of life where your brain is being rewired.
Yes, my brain.
God rewires women's brains at a certain point in life. And I think that's where Betty's at.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and you feel like you're losing your mind and going crazy, but you're not. And all women go through it. We need to talk about it more. So,
not on today's episode.
But not on today's episode. No, we're going to talk about it. We're going to reward ourselves today and go have lunch.
Yes, we are. So we're going to have an episode which you have heard us say before, that you spend time with people to decide if you want to spend more time with people. So we're going to be like really diving into that today. And then after that, Julz and I are going to go spend some quality time together having some soup.
Yes.
And catching up over
Even though it's 90 degrees outside.
Even though it's 90
degrees. We're
degrees.
going to pretend like it's soup weather today because it sounds good.
Yep, it sounds good.
And so what made me, we have a list on our phone of ideas, subjects that when one of them presents itself to us, we type it into our notes list on our phones. And so this came up last night because I am a Golden Bachelorette lover. I've watched The Bachelor from the very start, and that was in 2002.
And I have never watched a single episode.
And I'm
so this will be fun.
Yeah, I'm easily entertained. And my niece lives in New York, and it's a kind of a thing that she and I have together. And we'll sit there and text each other back and forth during the show, and like, ew, she did something gross, or whatever. It's fun. It's fun. And so we pour ourselves a glass of wine and we text each other. And but anyway, last night, it was the final rose ceremony for the Golden Bachelor. And
I'm going to try to hold myself together while she's telling the story.
I know, because we have, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but one of the final, there were 2 women left for Mel to pick. And they were getting ready to go to Fantasy Suite, which is a great opportunity for them to get to talk to each other off camera. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have sex or not. I don't think that they should, but they might.
I can't imagine that they would.
I think some do.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, but wait, this is after they give the rose?
No. This is the final 2 women.
And you think he's going to go back and have sex with each of them?
I think there's a possibility of people doing that. I'm not saying, I'm not, no judgment if y'all want to do that.
No judgment if that's the case, but okay.
Anyway, one of the gals, they were on their final date before going to the Fantasy Suite. And she was really pushing him for a commitment that night. And it was a little bit controversial for a lot of people, because it's like, you've gone this far, you should know if you're going to pick me or the other woman. I want to know now, but that's not how the show works. And he was saying that and he didn't tell her this. She left. She decided to punt and leave the show because she didn't like the answer that he gave her. But,
she didn't like that he wasn't decisive enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think on this show that they have some rules that have to be followed. If he had presented her with, yes, you're the one, I want to marry you that night, then they couldn't have, his family was coming in for them to meet and his friend and for them kind of board of directors to tell him which one of these women that they thought was well suited for him. He had already met their families. Anyway, he basically was saying, after we get off this show and we're in reality mode and not in fantasy land in the show, we need to spend more time with each other to see if we want to spend time together. That's what I gathered from it, which I think is accurate. I don't think that you can know somebody. Well, I know for a fact that you can't because I've done it multiple times. Married somebody within 3 months of, starting to date them. And those did not work out. And so that's what made me want to discuss the importance of spending time with somebody to see if you want to spend time with them.
So here's my take, knowing absolutely nothing about these people. So first of all, I do believe that you have to spend time with somebody to decide if you want to spend more time with them. Now, I think that girl, I think that it's
woman.
I think that, it's the Golden Bachelor.
Right. She's my age.
I think that it really... The whole thing is a little unfair because of the way that they're going about it.
Right.
So I don't think that you can hold that person to the exact same standards that you would if you're dating somebody out in the real world because of the way it was set up. Now, if we're not talking about them and we're talking about people, I do think that you should have very high standards. I do think that you should expect your person to be decisive enough. And we talk about this all the time that men know. Yeah. They do know. They do. They don't need 8 years to figure it out.
And quite frankly, I think he knew.
Right. Well, okay.
And it wasn't her. And maybe her gut was telling her, I'm not.
And maybe she didn't want the rejection on camera.
Maybe. And I mean, who knows?
But it was still so early on. I wonder why she felt the need to have that reaction. And maybe it was her gut. But at the same time, you signed up for this.
Yeah.
You signed up to make it to the end and kind of not know and be in limbo. You chose to do this. And from start to finish, the whole thing is less than 8 weeks anyway, right?
I think so. I don't really know how long it spans, and that's what Mel said. Mel, being the Golden Bachelor, he's a retired NFL football player, and he was like, she didn't finish the game. She punted and left before the final score.
Yeah.
And I kind of think he was right, but I think that the woman he ended up with was the one inside of him that they were very well suited. Now, who knows if they're gonna spend time together now to see if they want to keep spending time together and if they want to get married or whatever. And I also know that I've not done this in my 60s. I met Jay in my 40s, and I think that there's a little bit more of a rush. I don't want to wait 5 years to get married because by then I'm going to be, on Social Security and Medicare.
Well, but that's a funny thing. That's funny that you say that because in my 40s, I won't waste 5 years either.
Yeah.
And
but I was older than you when I met Jay, and we waited almost 4 years to get married. But I had been divorced 4 times. And so I really just kept waiting for the shoe to drop. Mm-hmm. And the relationship was so easy and wonderful that I felt like it was too good to be true. Mm-hmm. But now fast forward 13 years later, and it's still really wonderful.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into the spending time together because I think that you do need some guidelines around it. So let's talk a little bit about it. We go back to the list, right? Let's go all the way back to the list. Episode 7, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Yeah. So you have the list.
Got 4 categories on the list.
You have your 4 categories, and you go in depth listen to the whole thing and make your list out if you don't already have it. Now, once you
I want to tell them the 4 categories just so they know.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
financial, emotional, spiritual, and physical.
Yes. And then go back to the episode and it'll give you
sky's
all of
the limit.
Yes, and then there's a whole rating system and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you have all that. Now then you start having conversations, you start meeting people, you have an interview date,
Yep.
then you have a date, and then you continue the conversation.
No alcohol on the interview date.
Typically not. That is...
Come with
you're
a
not-
list of questions.
Yes. And usually lunch or coffee is usually more preferable than like a Friday night dinner or Saturday night dinner.
No, 'cause that's more like a date.
Yeah, that's like a date.
And you can't say, oh, I've got to go, I've got a meeting. You know, you may know immediately that you don't want to spend any more time with them, and you can be like, oh my goodness, I've got to go.
And I think that when you feel like it's not a match, that you just say that.
Yeah.
And don't waste anybody's time, because I say that going in. Look, I want to get to know people. I have a lot of questions. I'm a curious person. You guys have heard me say that a million times.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to waste mine.
Yeah.
So if at any point, and I have said this to them too, if at any point...
Have you said it to them right face to face on the interview date?
Not on the interview date. Not
Have
on
you done the copy and paste text?
Absolutely, I've done the copy and paste text multiple times. But what I have said to people is, if at any point you're not feeling that this is a match, just tell me.
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Right.
What I don't like is anybody pretending like it's going to go somewhere and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think that if we go in with the proper kind of communication, that this is, and I have also said what I'm about to say. I'm a happy person. I'm genuinely a happy person. I'm positive. I want everybody to win.
Yep.
And so I have said to people, look, I understand that we might like each other. We might enjoy our time together. That doesn't mean that we're a match.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it's going to be a long-term thing. And so if it doesn't work out, I still wish you well. And I hope that you find what you're looking for. And I'm okay with I'm okay with the fact that you can be happy, even if it's not attached to me. I'm okay with that.
Of course.
And I think, right, but some people don't want to see the other person happy if it's not with them. And I just think that that's the
There's a
wrong way
lot
to
of
look at it.
people who, not even just romantically, but they don't want to see you succeed.
Yep.
And they will
That's true.
you can tell them an idea or something, and they'll be the first ones to be like, yeah, but what if this happens? And what are you going to do if that happens? And you've got to be a little bit of a risk taker on some things. But if you have your roadmap to what you're looking for in your love life, you'll know.
Yeah.
You will know. I went on so many interview dates, and I had to send the copy paste text that just said, hey, I appreciate your time. I enjoyed meeting you. Unfortunately, I don't feel the chemistry that I'm looking for. I'm going to continue my search, and I wish you well.
Yep.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
Yep.
We're too old to play games.
Yeah, 'cause
and you can feel it in your gut. So
Yes.
don't ignore that. You
Yep.
know if they are just there to use you, and then they're going to discard you. I mean, I had zero question. Jay was solid. He
Yep.
did what he said he was going to do, and then beyond. And, even I told Jay that I loved him first, about 3 months in, maybe sooner. I don't know. But he didn't tell me that he loved me back. He said, when I love you, you'll know without me telling you, but I will tell you, and I will tell you often. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what he's done all this time. And Jay knew himself well enough that he knew that he could fall in love pretty easily. And I mean, look at me. Who wouldn't fall in love? I'm teasing. But he wanted to spend time.
Yep.
And make sure there were kids involved, there were hearts, there were families.
At this chapter, this stage of life, it's more than just me and you.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
more than just let's just hop in there and
Yeah.
figure it out. No, there's way more. There's more people that can get hurt.
Yep.
You still have to take a risk. You still have to take a risk, but you have to be I think, a lot more careful, especially, when you are introducing other kids and people are talking about, blended families.
Yeah.
And blending families is not an easy thing to do.
Nope. And
they say that it can take like 7 or 8 years.
There was a Dr. Phil episode where he talked about blending families, and it takes 8 years for a family to truly blend.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I mean, my kids, it took them a while to trust Jay. Like, my boys did not really allow him in for a long time.
Yeah.
And my sister and my mom also were pretty standoffish. They liked him, and that wasn't because of Jay. That was because of me, because they had gotten close to people, and then
You're like, he's out.
kicked him to the curb.
Yeah.
I wasn't flippant about it. There were absolute reasons, and my codependency and lack of proper judgment on the front end of those relationships. I just jumped in.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of these conversations, is that we don't want you to just jump in, because it's so damaging. You really have got to spend time.
Yeah, and so the point here that I feel like is, in the time, in the, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, whatever, you should be paying attention.
Oh.
You should be observing. This is where I feel like the questions and the decisions that go back to your list, that go back to, what am I looking for? Is this bringing me closer or further away from where I want to be in my life? All of that kind of stuff. If you're not paying attention, and if you've thrown that whole thing away, well, now you're off track. The whole roadmap that we talk about, getting yourself to New York, right? Well, if you took the time to design the map,
Right.
and now here you are, and you've decided that this person is somebody that you want to spend more time with, you created the play for it.
Yep.
The whole playbook,
Yeah,
right? You
you did.
created it. So keep yourself on track and continue to ask the question. I will tell you, for me, the absolute biggest deal breaker, I don't care who it is, if early on you already are seeing that they don't do what they say they're going to do, I don't care
Out.
what else. Out.
You've got to be smart, and you've got to believe that they are who they are when they show you who they are. It's not words, it's actions. And where I made my biggest mistakes in my prior relationships was just ignoring that, brushing it under the rug, ignoring the red flags. And some of them were big red flags. And I just was so codependent and desperate that really I didn't want a husband. I just needed a warm body. I just needed somebody there breathing air with me. But it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted a partnership. I wanted love. I wanted family. I wanted what I have with Jay now. And it's so worth the time to let the euphoric stage pass, which I think takes 1.5 years. I really do. And then, everybody's on their best behavior. So if you're seeing red flags in the first 30, 60, 90 days, trust me,
yes.
that's the best behavior that you're going to get. They're at their best.
Yep.
At the first.
And I have heard, and I think I said this in a different episode, but I have heard of people talk about needing couples therapy and couples counseling in their first 3 months.
No.
And I'm thinking,
if it's not,
I'm a little confused with that.
if you're having to work that hard to
That
make
early?
it work right now, early on, just stop the bleeding. Get
Yes.
out. That's not your guy, or it's not your
that's not your
gal. It's
person.
not.
Yeah.
Get out.
Now, of course, we all know, if you've been in a relationship more than 5 minutes, you know that relationships do take. Shit happens in a relationship.
Yeah, and you've got to let them root.
Yes,
Takes time to root.
It's not all rainbows and
No.
butterflies. There's something will happen, and so you need to know. This is how I feel about it. You need to know that the person that you are attaching yourself to is willing and able to be there through it all.
Yep.
Through the challenges, through the illnesses, through the whatever happens in life. If that person is showing you in the early days of dating that they're not really that into you, or they're really not reliable, or they really don't show up,
Yeah.
or they really don't have kind of that you would say this, stick-to-itiveness,
Yep.
or the ability to like
Care.
Think kind of on their toes, and by that I mean, if there's a huge issue thrown at you and somebody just is paralyzed by fear or panic and they just stop in their tracks, that's not somebody I want on the battlefield with me.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
one of the things fairly early on with Jay and I was I got bronchitis and I was sick. I had running a fever, hacking a lung up. I mean, I was not pretty. And that man took such great care of me. And then my youngest son got sick. And I was like, you're traveling. Don't come over here. It's probably contagious. But he brought chicken noodle soup and crackers and ice cream. And he wrote these lovely notes that just were so from his heart. And I honestly was like, man, this guy is pouring it on thick. He still does it.
He still does it.
And so if you have a man who doesn't even care about how you're feeling if you have a cold, what's going to happen when something big happens?
Yep. What's going to happen when
really the rubber hits the road?
If you get married and you have a baby,
Oh.
and you're sick, let me tell you
I'll tell you what
the
happens.
worst thing ever that I think is if you have a non-participant partner who doesn't feel the need, they don't feel any responsibility to getting in there and helping you with the children. So here you are, let's say you're sick. Let's say you're in bed very ill and you're having sick. You're sick. And now you have a 2-month-old.
You still have to take care of the 2-month-old.
Exactly my point.
You don't get vacation days.
Exactly my point. This is exactly
Or sick
why.
days.
This is why when you're dating, this is what I think. Think about the little things. If they can't show up for the little things, how are they going to show up with the big things? And
They
that
won't.
is children.
They
and
will
that is
not.
illnesses.
Yeah.
And that is, a
That's
lot bigger.
aging parents. I mean,
financial
yeah.
disasters,
Oh.
whatever,
All the things that can happen in life. If you don't, we were just talking about this 20 minutes ago. If you don't put a bubble of protection around your relationship, all the things that life has to throw are gonna drive y'all apart. And that's why you want to, number one, I mean, Jay and I, we are committed to having a devotion time and prayer time and just a set time every single morning where we talk about the day and what's going on in our lives with our kids, just catching up, but also surrendering our life to our Lord and Savior. And just knowing that He is at the helm of our ship. And it's so interesting because Jay and I have gone through some things, let me tell you.
Yes,
but
they
it
have.
Does not it does not argue. It does not. We do not argue. I'm going to knock on wood because I think the enemy loves to get a hold of these things that you think you're so great at. But he won't be able to get in there into ours. So you just have to give these relationships time to root. And it's hard. It's hard because I wanted to it's like, can we skip? There's a song. I don't know if you've heard it. I need to find it. But it's this girl singing this song and she's talking, it's new. It's on the mega hit list on Spotify. That's how I heard it. And she's talking about how she wants the white picket fences and the arches and she wants the white dress and she wants the babies. But they're new in their relationship. And she's like, can we just skip this part and get to that part? You can't.
Okay.
You can't skip this part.
You just made me think of two very interesting, actually timely. I was watching, of course, scrolling through social media. There's two things that I'm going to bring up right now. One of them is by Matthew Hussey, who is a dating coach, and I love him, and we've talked about him before.
Yeah, I love him
But he
too.
literally, I just watched a clip of him where he was talking about don't marry someone that you haven't argued with or you haven't had a rough moment with,
Right.
because you haven't, the people think, just like you're talking about skipping through all this, people think that relationships are always rainbows and butterflies and everything is going to be all,
White picket fences.
glowy and lovely. And that's just not the truth. And so there's this whole thing. This is why he says this. If you haven't seen your person have an off day, if you haven't seen your person have something, and it could be in the relationship, or it could be just each of you experiencing something.
And see how they're going to respond.
And see how they're going to respond, and see how you guys are going to get through it together. If you haven't experienced that, that's a kind of a scary thing, because you're committing life. You're committing to doing life with somebody, but you haven't experienced certain things yet. So how do you know that that person will be there when the going gets tough?
Well,
how do you know that they're going to be standing by you when you go through something that is completely life altering and they just decide, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And you've already married them.
But the deal is, number one, you didn't give it enough time to be able to see that happen, or number two, you brushed it under the rug.
Right.
They show you who they are, and they show, if you give it the time to root and the time to see how they are going to handle. I mean, I think you should at least go through all 4 seasons with someone.
Which this goes back to, you have to spend time with somebody to see if you want to keep spending time with somebody. Now, because you spend, here's, dating versus marriage. Because neither one of us is an advocate for divorce.
No.
When you're dating, pay attention and go through these questions, right? Because if you're dating someone and something happens, it's really not too late to course correct. It's not too late to say, I don't think that we're the right match to make it the whole way.
Right.
It's okay to do that. That was the whole point of spending more time together, to decide if you wanted to spend long term together. I think that was the whole point. If you either don't give it enough time or you brush it under the rug, now when the real trials come after you're married, now what are you going to do?
Well, you're stuck. And I can tell you what you're going to do. You're going to pull the covers up over your head and you're going to say, oh my God, I did it again.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a big mess and nobody's happy. And I'm affecting my children. I'm not, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So don't skip that part.
Yep. Okay. And point number 2 that I wanted to make, the other thing that's also very, very important about, while you're spending time, and this was an interview between Brene Brown and it's the Diary of the CEO podcast, which I love. And so there was just a clip this morning. I just saw it this morning. And so you brought it up as you were talking. And she was talking about, being brave and being courageous, that is required for vulnerability.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're going to spend time with somebody to see if you want to spend more time with somebody, then that is going to require vulnerability, because you can't show up as a representation of yourself pretending to be something that you're not during your courtship period, and then think, whether it's you or them, and then think that, oh, well, now I can become the real version of me later. That's not going to work. And her example, the reason why I loved her example so much is because this guy was talking about, he felt pretty emotional as far as like he was falling in love with this girl, and they had been dating for a few months, and they had talked about whatever they talked about. But there was a moment where he felt like, I think it was 3 months in, and he thought to himself, I see my whole life with her. And and he wanted to tell her, you were talking about saying I love you. So he planned this whole date. They go to dinner, and he is like all kind of choked up because he is trying to profess his love to her, to tell her how much he loves her, how much this, he sees a future with her, and blah, 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 all that. And at that moment, at that moment, I know, at that moment, she says to him, I think you're really an awesome guy, but I don't think that this is going to work.
I'm not feeling the chemistry.
I'm not feeling the chemistry. I hope you find what you're looking for. I wish you all the best. But see, the whole point of why the conversation was happening between Brene Brown and the, I don't know the host, I don't know his name, of the Diary of the CEO. What her point was that he had to come to that place of vulnerability, which he had to be courageous to literally spill it. And he left it all on the table, right? but the cool part was that he, at first it stung and he was
Yeah.
really bummed out and really hurt. But then he went back to his apartment and was talking to his roommates, and they were
didn't like her.
they did, and they said, "Why did you tell her? You should have never told her. Why would you like put it all out there on the line?" And his whole thing was because he wanted to be authentic, and
Yeah.
he said, no, the quote that the line that he said was, "I was daring greatly, and if I hadn't done that, I would have never known."
Right.
And the thing that's really cool about that, Brene Brown has a book that's called Daring Greatly, and what I love about her whole vulnerability thing is, if you're going to do it, you need to do it. You need to be in it, because if you're not going to show up as you authentically,
Yep.
then you're really not putting in the time. You're really not putting in, like, you're not ever going to know the other person.
But that's why I think you give it at least a year to a year and a half, because nobody can keep up a facade. And I do think that I saw this funny post the other day, and it was just a little short clip, and it was a guy and a gal. A guy posted it, and he posted it was them at dinner, and she's eating a salad. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I can imagine.
This
where
is
it's
what
going.
dating looks like in your first month. And then it showed them a year later. And he said a year later, and she's got a double beef cheeseburger and she's grabbing food off his plate. There is no salad in sight. I remember being, presenting myself very delicately at first. I can eat like a man. I
Yeah.
really can. But I don't think I ever did that.
Well, that's funny that you say that, because normally, I probably order a salad, and I do love salads.
I do
so
too.
That's
I do
a
too.
normal thing for
Yeah.
me. So I probably would order a salad on a date. I'm not going to order something messy that's going to end up on my face or my lap or
No.
whatever. But I do ask the question on a date. I ask the question, well, how do you feel about sharing?
Yes.
How do you feel about? Because let me tell you right now.
Well, there's a whole scenario built around that on Friends.
Yes.
Joey did not like to
Yeah, he
share.
doesn't, and he was a food hoarder.
He would break up with people.
Yes,
over
he
it.
would. If you even like put your finger on his plate to grab a fry or whatever, like it was not gonna be a good day. But I personally, for me, I think for anybody to, like, if anybody ever did that in front of me
Yes.
and said that, if they were a
I don't
food hoarder,
share.
that would never work for
No.
me. Because hold on, so I'm thinking we're on a date. And I would not put my hands in somebody else's
You'd ask
dinner
first.
I wouldn't ever do that on like the first or the second
Right.
date. But if I'm dating someone,
Right.
If I'm dating someone and we have, had the conversation
And you
that
kissed.
yeah.
I mean, come on.
If you are in any kind of, like, you have decided to move forward in a relationship and you don't want to share with me, but we're talking about sharing our lives together, and you won't share a fry or a bite of your dessert.
Right.
I was about to drop an F-bomb. Beep. So absolutely not. That would never work, because I already feel like, okay, so now this is going to be a mine and yours.
Yeah.
This is going to be a brick wall. You are going to always keep me at a distance. You're going to have a hard time sharing anything in your life, which also tells me that you're probably not going to share what's really in your heart.
Right. There's a
Hell
possibility.
no.
On our
Hell
interview
no.
date, Jay and I shared a club sandwich and
Yeah.
fries. We split an order.
And I think I prefer when it's even the first date, second date, whatever. I prefer if we are sharing, because I actually prefer family style.
Yes.
I prefer to get something or get a couple appetizers and we're sharing,
Yeah.
versus you order yours and I'll order mine.
No, that's no fun.
No, that's no fun.
Well, and also you can see if they're going to eat it all and even be considerate of you maybe wanting
Right.
the last fry on the
Yeah.
plate.
Or if they, yeah.
I mean, it's
exactly.
there's just so many little exercises.
When you're paying attention.
You've got to pay attention.
Yeah.
You've got to go in with your eyes wide open and be aware of how they react in all the scenarios that life is going to throw at you. It's critical.
Yep.
This is just one of the most important things, and I say these things because I didn't. I absolutely saw the signs, ignored them because I thought I was so special that I could change them. I could bring them over to. I was wrong.
Yep.
I was being led by my emotions 1,000%, not checking into reality, and I got burned.
Yeah, so we're saying this clearly from experience here, and I would say I have done it too earlier on. I mean, I remember this when I was in my 20s, actually even younger.
Yeah.
But I remember I was dating somebody, and I was a couple years in, and I remember feeling like there's something off about this.
Did you break up?
No, I didn't.
That's it.
But this is my
Yep.
point. My point is, I said to myself, we've already been together a couple years. I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste the time that I've already invested.
Right.
And that is the most ridiculous thing for whether you're a late teen or a 20-something, that is the most ridiculous thing for you to say, because you have your entire life and world ahead of you.
Yeah.
And if you think that, 2 years, we weren't even married. We weren't even married.
No.
And then what ended up happening was we stayed together for 4.
Oh, no, yeah.
And then things got
worse.
And then I ended up breaking up with him.
But
So then I wasted 4 years instead of just 2. So see, now foresight would tell me that absolutely not, don't do that.
It's the same, though, when you get into your 50s, 60s. You can't rush the process.
Yeah.
You just can't. And you've got to give it the time that it needs to root and see. There are a bunch of 60-year-old men out there that are buttholes. So I don't know them. I'm married in my 60s, but I hear stories, and I know one in particular is still a butthole. And
I know what she's talking about.
I don't want to be around. I don't want to live my life like that.
Yeah.
I would rather be alone, honestly.
Yes, I say that. That's exactly what I say. I would rather be single forever than to be attached to a person that is actually dragging me down in life.
I'm not doing
and
it.
not adding happiness and joy and peace to my life, which is what I want to add to somebody else.
Right.
Happiness, peace, and joy. But you have to be a person that has that within them. Because
You have to make yourself happy.
Absolutely.
Happiness is your choice.
It's an inside job.
They can't make you happy.
Yeah.
You can't make them happy.
You can
But
add
you can,
to their happiness.
you can create a happy environment.
Right.
But trust me, if somebody's a grouch and you're sunshine, they're still going to be a grouch.
Yep.
And you're going to irritate the hell out of them if you're happy.
And the problem with that will be, as they say, that your shine is going to dull.
Oh, it will.
You're going to end up shrinking because you're going to feel like, well, now I can't be too happy because I don't want to upset them.
Well, because they will throw a fit and start. I mean, they will suck your creamy goodness out of you.
I almost dropped another F-bomb.
Oh, I know. I feel like it too. I really do, but I can't because I think there's people from church who watch this. So no F. Butthole is the strongest word I can say.
Yeah,
which I do think butthole is completely underutilized.
Well, I'd rather use the other word. But
I know you would, but
sometimes they just fly out. So, whatever.
yeah, sometimes you just have to give it that punch.
Yeah.
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 So, but I went through a phase early in our relationship where I was cussing too much, and Jay told me that he thought I was too pretty to talk like that.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's a nice way for him to tell me to knock it off.
Well, that's funny because I feel like since my divorce, I have never cussed more in my life.
I've not helped.
I feel like that has become, but there's actually something I saw it on social media that people that do cuss, you're able to, like, there's an oomph to your
Just
expression.
let it out.
Yes, you can say things in a way with certain words that really allow you to express yourself more freely. And I actually 100%, I grew up in a household where we were not allowed to say not one bad word. They were called bad words.
Yeah.
You couldn't say anything. And so we grew up super, super strict, and I was always very careful. And if I heard somebody else say it, it was like, oh my gosh, they said the word.
Oh, you're going to get in trouble.
Now I'm the one saying all the words.
My sister swore that I taught our mom, how to say the F word. No, I don't think so. I think my mom knew how to say it. I just gave her permission to say it around me anyway.
But there's something so freeing about it.
Mother and I had a really unique relationship, and we were 1,000% authentic with each other.
I think
not that she wasn't authentic with my sister. We just had different relationships.
Yeah. See, and I think that's okay. I think the difference is now when you get older and you
Yeah.
want to use that kind of language, I don't think it's bad. What I think is that you have to be careful so that it's appropriate
Don't do it in front of your kids.
to who's
Yeah,
around
right.
you. I think that's the difference.
And the
But-
atmosphere. I mean, where are you
Yeah.
at? What are y'all doing? Or,
yeah.
you know.
But I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's perfectly acceptable.
But I think if you're mad at someone, don't say that.
Well,
don't say anything.
Don't say what?
the F word.
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. Regardless, there is still. What's the word I'm looking for? There is still the style of communication
Yes.
that you have with somebody. You still have to be very, very careful because you can't take hurtful words back. So that is,
Right.
if I'm just talking and I'm, accentuating whatever I'm saying with an F-bomb or with whatever I'm saying, I think that's different than cussing at someone,
Right.
calling them a name or calling them a bleepity bleep
If
or
you-
whatever.
if you-
I think
Yeah.
that's never personally.
If you get to
that's
that
never
point,
appropriate.
then you have lost the battle.
Yeah.
Honestly, not and Jay always says somebody who has to talk like that doesn't have something intelligent to say at this point. If you're yelling and screaming and
Right.
hollering and
Yeah.
making a fool of yourself, so and you can't take those words back. And that old saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," is a lie.
A total crock.
It's a lie. I believe sometimes I know for a fact that you can heal quicker from physicality than verbal. You don't want to be in a relationship with any of those things. And if it's spiritual, mental, physical, or verbal, or any of those, get out.
Any of the
It's not
any of
going
the
to
abuses,
change. Yeah, get out before it escalates to a point of being dangerous when you...
Well, there's a line. There's a line, and I think it's when you lose respect for your partner, now we have a problem.
and when you lose trust.
Yes,
Trust and respect.
100% trust and respect, and that is from me and then also to me. I'm not letting it happen either way.
No.
I still, regardless of who it is, definitely my kids, even my ex. I don't communicate that way. I
No.
don't speak to
No.
people that way. I don't say things that I'm going to regret that then I have to take back because you can't take it back. And now you have created, I think, so much damage.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole level of respect that I think, even if you're in a heated argument, even if you're disagreeing, you have to remember that is supposed to be your person. And this is the thing where I feel like you guys are supposed to love each other and protect each other. If I ever need protection from my person, that is not my person.
No.
That right there should end it for me. Because if you, my partner, are willing to be the person that hurts me the most when you're supposed to be the one protecting me, that's all the time we got here. That
true.
time is up. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stress the importance of that more than what Betty just said. I was called the B word. I was called the C word. I marinated in that, and I let my kids marinate in it. And it is so damaging, and it takes you talk about sucking the life out of you and having to rebuild. Watch for the signs, because they're there early on, and you can't fix it. You are not the person to fix
And it's
that.
not your job to fix
It's not your job, and
not.
you don't want to be treated that way. So our time is up. This conversation, this was a good one.
This was a good one.
Spend time with someone to see if you want to spend time with them.
Yeah, it's funny because when Julz, when she brought up, this topic idea, and she said, I think I want to go down this. Well, because we don't script anything,
Right.
I had no idea where this was going to go. And this is so interesting because it's not only so important, and we've both been there with things that, spending maybe way too much time when we should have known that our time was up.
Well,
pay attention.
You do know. You do know. Don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
I knew, and I lied to myself, and I lied. I lied to other people when they asked me questions, told me not to be in the relationship. I pushed them aside. Listen to the people outside of that relationship who know you and love you, and they're saying, I just don't feel good about this. Don't like that person. Didn't like him the first time I met him.
Yep.
I sound just like my mother right
Yep.
now. So just, gosh, I wish I could go back and change a few things. But then again, I don't think I'd change anything because
All of those things led you to Jay.
yep, all those things led me to Jay. They gave me my boys. They led me to Betty. They led me to my other quarters in my life. And you just accept the fabric of life and the path that God gives you, and you choose to learn and grow from it, and then share it with people.
Yep.
And take your mess and turn it into a message to help other people.
Yep.
It's fun.
And that's our story, and we're
Yep.
sticking with it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so as we always say, of course, thank you for joining us today and spending a part of your day with us. There is a comment section below, and we would love for you to put feedback, questions, topic ideas, things that you want us to talk about. Also, please subscribe if you have not.
And if you have, subscribe.
And if you
Thank
have, thank you so much. And go ahead and binge on some other episodes if you haven't watched them all. I'm not sure what number this is going to be, but we are nearing, I think, our 40th.
Yeah.
We're getting close to our 40th. This might actually be number 40. I'm not sure. But we are nearing our 40th. This might be after that. But pretty excited. We have a lot of big plans, and so there's more to come, so stick with us. So subscribe, share it, tell other people about it that you think this content could help. And then the other thing, too, that we always say, we do have an email address, so if you want to communicate with us directly, you can shoot us an email, hello@bettyandjulz.com, BETTE.
And I'm JULZ.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.